The MLB Spring Breakout has quickly evolved from a fan friendly exhibition into something far more consequential, a live audit of organizational development systems.
What we saw this year was not simply prospect performance, it was process validation. It was pipeline stress testing, and most importantly, it was a forward-looking valuation event for players whose earning power is tied directly to how quickly they can convert tools into production.
Our analysis today breaks down which organizations won the Spring Breakout, not based on highlights, but on repeatability, readiness, and economic implications.
This wasn't a showcase, it was a system audit. Spring Breakout strips away the marketing, no rehab, no assignments, no veterans. Just the franchise's true developmental infrastructure on full display. Raw, unfiltered, and telling.
The core principle here is that development is greater than talent.
Raw talent walks through the door every June. What separates contenders from pretenders is what happens next. The coaching structures, the reps, the intentionality baked into every minor league level.
Yep. Systems compound, talent alone does not.
So Lee, how did we grade the field?
Well, we evaluated every organization across hitting development, pitching infrastructure, positional versatility, and roster depth signal. Tier 1 are the complete winners. Tier 2 are those with strong systems. And Tier 3 are the teams with gaps exposed.
9 organizations stood out. 3 defined the conversation. The LA Dodgers once again demonstrated the most complete system in baseball. Their prospects did not appear to be developmental projects. They appeared to be MLB-ready contributors awaiting roster space.
Yes, pitchers showed advanced command alongside velocity profiles that translate immediately at the major league level. Hitters demonstrated plate discipline and swing decisions consistent with established big league hitters.
Defensively, versatility was assumed, not exceptional. The Dodgers' depth creates a unique leverage paradox.
Now, prospects are often blocked at the major league level, but this same depth transforms them into premium trade assets. Representation strategy must account for both internal advancement and external relocation opportunities.
Bottom line, the LA Dodgers are an industrial development machine. They don't just draft well, they manufacture readiness at industrial scale. Every level of the system showed polished MLB caliber skill sets at Spring Breakout. This isn't luck, people, this is infrastructure.
Additionally, the Dodgers' greatest organizational tension is also their greatest market signal. When a prospect can't crack this roster, that's not a red flag, that's a buying opportunity for every other front office. Depth here creates leverage elsewhere.
The Baltimore Orioles confirmed that their rebuild has transitioned into a sustainable production model. The organization continues to produce hitters with advanced approaches, situational awareness, and athleticism.
So looking deeper, the Orioles hitters are advanced and repeatable.
They have plate discipline, meaning walk rates, chase rates, and contact quality, all trending above positional averages at equivalent levels.
They also have approach consistency, not just good at-bats, repeatable good at-bats. The coaching fingerprint is visible and it is sticky.
And this isn't a one-class fluke. The 2024 and 2025 groups showed the same markers. That's a system and not just a mere coincidence.
Basically, what distinguishes Baltimore is not just talent. It is a continuity of output. This is no longer a spike. It is a system.
Players within this pipeline may reach arbitration leverage earlier than projected due to accelerated performance timelines, creating opportunities for early extension negotiations or enhanced brand positioning.
Bottom line, the Baltimore Orioles are the pipeline that keeps producing. The rebuild is over, and the Orioles system didn't just survive its own success, it accelerated. Spring Breakout confirmed what the miners have been whispering. Baltimore's factory line has not slowed down.
Agreed. And Baltimore's top prospects are approaching service time decision windows faster than the organization anticipated. Pre-arbitration extensions are on the table, but so is the risk of waiting. Agents representing Orioles prospects need arbitration timelines mapped now, not at the deadline.
The Tampa Bay Rays reaffirmed their reputation as baseball's most efficient development ecosystem. Pitching remains elite with movement profiles and command that reflect a deeply integrated analytics infrastructure.
Offensively, players demonstrated adaptability and situational intelligence rather than raw flash.
Additionally, the Rays have pitching lap dominance with versatility everywhere. Spin rates, movement profiles, and sequencing coached deliberately. Every arm exits with a pitch mix strategy.
They also have positional flex. Multi-position capability baked into every position player's development plan from day one.
And process culture. They have process culture, meaning players arrive knowing their role in the larger system, not just their personal stat line.
Rays players often outperform early contract valuations, but long-term earning potential depends heavily on timing, either through extensions or strategic exits.
So the bottom line for the Tampa Bay Rays, it is a system over stars mentality. No singular prospect carries the Rays' grade. Their strength is structural. The entire system moves as a coordinated unit. Positional flexibility, pitcher development philosophy, and process adherence operating in lockstep.
And from an agent perspective, the Rays model is about extracting value before the market catches up. Their prospects are often at peak trade value 12 to 18 months before the broader market recognizes it. Agents and opposing front offices who understand the Rays' development curve gain a structural edge at the negotiating table. Move early or pay a premium.
The Cincinnati Reds showcased one of the most dynamic and athletic prospect groups in the event. Speed, aggression, and raw power were evident across the roster. However, approach consistency, particularly at the plate, remains a development point.
This is a classic high-variance valuation environment. Strong performances can dramatically increase player value, but inconsistency can delay earning windows.
Bottom line, Cincinnati Reds equals athletic chaos. In the best way. The Reds system is electric. The athleticism on display at the Spring Breakout was among the highest of any organization. Fast twitch, explosive, and genuinely exciting. The development task now is harnessing it.
And again, from an agent perspective, the Reds' developmental gap is profile refinement. Elite athleticism without consistent approach creates boom or bust outcomes. Strike zone management, pitch recognition at upper levels, and reliability replicating mechanics under fatigue. These are the development checkpoints that will determine whether this system converts upside into actual major league value or remains a collection of exciting what-ifs. The Chicago Cubs delivered one of the most balanced showings. While lacking headline-grabbing moments, the organization displayed no systemic weaknesses. Pitching, hitting, and defense all graded as above average, suggesting a pipeline of reliable MLB contributors.
Yes, they have balanced positional coverage with no glaring voids in the system. The Cubs have credible options at every position across multiple levels.
And they have pitching depth that is quietly building. Not flashy arms, but durable strike-throwing profiles that fit a modern rotation construction model.
As well as coaching continuity with player development and staff stability paying dividends. Same voices, consistent messaging, accelerated growth curves.
Players in this system may not generate immediate hype, but are positioned for stable career trajectories and predictable earning growth.
So bottom line, the Chicago Cubs are quietly complete.
No headlines, no viral moments, just a system that works at every level. The Cubs didn't dominate any single narrative at Spring Breakout. They just kept showing up solid, positionally balanced, and organizationally coherent.
The Seattle Mariners continue to establish pitching as their organizational anchor. Arm talent, mechanics, and strikeout potential stood out.
The Mariners' path to contention runs through their pitching surplus. Expect trade activity that converts arms into offensive infrastructure over the next 18 months.
Offensively, however, questions remain regarding long-term production ceilings.
Pitchers within the system may see accelerated promotion timelines, while position players may require longer development arcs to maximize value.
Bottom line here, the Seattle Mariners are all about pitching identity. The Mariners have built their organization philosophy around one conviction: you can never have too much pitching. Spring Breakout confirmed the arms are real. The offensive infrastructure is catching up, but slowly.
The LA Angels displayed individual flashes of high-end talent, but lacked a cohesive developmental identity.
The problem is that they have standout tools in individual prospects that mask the absence of system-wide development philosophy. The floor is inconsistent because the infrastructure is inconsistent.
This translates into a big risk that high upside prospects without structured development environments hit their ceiling earlier and often lower than their tools suggest they should.
So what's the fix, Michael?
Well, coaching staff coherence, repeatable player development frameworks, and long-term system vision. And these aren't quick wins.
Nope. And from an agent perspective, representation in this environment requires proactive oversight. Athletes must often self-direct aspects of development and brand positioning.
Bottom line, the LA Angels are tools without a system.
Yeah.
Individual talent was visible at Spring Breakout, but talent is not a developmental plan. The Angels have athletes, yes. They do not yet have a coherent developmental architecture to translate those athletes into MLB contributors reliably.
The Colorado Rockies continue to face structural challenges, particularly in pitching development influenced by environmental factors.
The environment isn't an excuse. Yeah. It's a constraint that demands a smarter system response than the Rockies are currently deploying.
That's correct. Developing starting pitchers in a franchise environment where every ERA and home run allowed number is environmentally distorted creates cascading challenges. Evaluation is harder, coaching is harder, and attracting pitcher-focused talent through the draft is harder.
Correctly. The Rockies show flashes of offensive upside at Spring Breakout, but until the pitching development infrastructure solves for context, the system grade cannot rise above tier 3.
And this means players must account for contextual performance variables that may impact both statistical output and market perception.
And another bottom line point for the Colorado Rockies: environment matters.
Yep.
The altitude problem in Denver is real and permanent.
Yeah. And
it continues to shadow the Rockies' entire developmental operation. Spring Breakout exposed this same structural disadvantage that has limited this franchise for a generation.
So let's wrap the podcast up with 3 big takeaways focusing on where the game is going.
Takeaway number 1, system wins. Systems win championships.
Yes.
The Spring Breakout leaderboard isn't random. The organizations at the top of every analytical framework share one trait. They have a development philosophy that operates independently of any single player. The system outlasts the prospect. And that's how you sustain contention windows instead of just opening them.
Organizations that win are not those with the most talent, but those with the most repeatable development process.
Big takeaway number 2, versatility is mandatory.
Absolutely. You have to have multi-position value. Every top-tier system we evaluated coaches positional flexibility deliberately. It's not a side effect. It's a core development goal. Additionally, you have to have roster construction edge. Versatile players give front offices options at trade deadline, in free agency, and on the 26th man. Rigidity, cost, wins.
Rigidity.
Yes.
And lastly, you have to pay attention to market value signal because versatile prospects command higher trade prices and broader acquisition interest. Flexibility is monetizable.
Yes. So the bottom line for takeaway number 2, players are being trained as multi-positional assets from the outset. This has direct implications for contract value and roster flexibility.
And lastly, big takeaway number 3 is that this is a labor market.
Yes.
Spring Breakout is not just a development event. It is a live market signal. Every at-bat, every pitch, every sprint speed reading is being indexed by front offices, agents, and analytics departments simultaneously.
So, players who perform here move markets. Understanding the economic stakes of spring breakout is the first step toward navigating them strategically for players, agents, and front offices alike.
Yes, because this event now functions as 1, a valuation checkpoint, 2, a trade signal environment, and 3, a brand exposure platform.
So the future is not coming, it's here. Spring Breakout 2026 settled the debate. The next generation of MLB talent isn't waiting in the wings. It's already making decisions, moving markets, and reshaping how franchises build.
The organizations that treated this event as a system audit rather than a showcase already have the advantage. The question is whether everyone else catches up in time.
Yes. So, all right, Michael, summarize the whole podcast in 3 sentences.
Spring Breakout is no longer about projection. It is about proximity. The players showcased are not years away. They are decisions waiting to happen.
Yes.
And for the agents, I realize that's more than 3 sentences, but I'm going to continue it on anyway. And for agents, front offices, and athletes alike, the message is clear. The timeline has accelerated, and the market is watching earlier than ever.
Yes. Thanks for joining us.
You're listening to the AAA Ball and Play podcast. Quick note, this is for education and entertainment. Nothing here is legal, tax, or financial advice, and nothing we say creates an athlete-agent relationship. Listening or contacting us does not make us your lawyers or your agents. For advice, talk to a qualified professional in your state.